And we're live. Welcome, everybody. This is the Reality Czars podcast, and I'm your only host, Nate. Tony's at Porkfest, that bitch. I'm fucking jealous. He's supposed to be making pictures, or taking pictures, rather, and making fucking connections, so maybe we'll get some interesting guests on. I don't know. But right now, we got some interesting guests on. Dude, we got the Unconstitutional Awakening podcast. We got King Neptune. We got Jim Bob. We got Bandit. Welcome, guys.
How's it going, buddy? How you doing this evening?
Good to be here.
Oh, dude, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing good. King Neptune, I've never heard. This is our first time chatting. Do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I guess I can go a little bit. IT guy. Been in the game off and on since 2018. I'm the Carolina Commando guy. I was the Waco Draco guy. I was in the Navy for 4 years. So
Waco Draco, man, that's a fucking cool nickname. I like it.
Yeah, not a whole lot else to me other than that. But yeah, I've had a few pages that have been yeeted off of Facebook. Those were a few of them.
Yeah.
And I'm just privileged to be amongst the guys that are still standing. So that's how I'm with these guys here.
Hell yeah, brother. Welcome. And Jim Bob, you want to tell everybody a little bit, if they didn't catch our first one, who's the Unconstitutional Awakening and where can we find you guys?
Of course, we're I'm Jim Bob Oval Shorts, the resident pirate captain of Unconstitutional Awakening, the podcast there, and which you can find at unconstitutionalawakening.com, and we've spread since the last time we talked. Actually, we're on Odyssey and Brighteon now as well under Unconstitutional Awakening.
I don't know what Brighteon is.
You can watch us on Rumble and everywhere else, and we even got a link now on the podcasts and more section of the website that links to stuff like this when we're on other shows as guests and stuff. And we're just there's a handful of us interchanging. Me and, of course, Bandit and I are the regular kind of popping off just about everywhere on a lot of stuff. And Neptune joins us for a lot of good stuff. He helped us and kind of led the first Lightning series that we did about the nuclear stuff. He did help us do the deep dive history on it. It was a 3-part series that man, he did. He knows his stuff. He's a good history buff. That's kind of why we got him in this group here or whatever. He can counteract anything I'm looking at, and usually has some good input to it.
Fucking A. Well, welcome, gents. I don't really have an agenda today. I just thought we'd come on here and bullshit and have fun. King Neptune, what exactly is the nuclear thing? And should I believe in nuclear weapons, or are they fake? Because I'm kind of on the fence with that.
I think you should believe in nuclear weapons.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. The reality of nuclear weapons, I mean, even predating the 20th century, and I'll kind of leave all of that off the table, but the perspective of nukes and the concept of doing the most absolute damage possible, it really came to fruition in the Second World War, right? So, I mean, it didn't really click with the Americans until probably late 1943, 1944. But the reality of nukes is disturbing in its own nature. And I'll tell you why. So, nukes in and of themselves, they originally began with the concept of dirty bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really a matter of how can we improve upon killing each other? What can we do to better kill each other, right? And nukes was kind of a extension of that, and it was sort of a matter of a gravitational thing throughout the Second World War. I'll get to that, But, I think back and I realized that the Chinese were the first to develop gunpowder, right? They were the first ones to really understand the development of large-scale firepower. And that continued through the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th century.
Interesting, man. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
We kind of got to a point where we started looking at repeating arms. Like, everybody forms up on a formation line, and Bandit has, as a guy, he was Army, I was Navy, so he has a lot more intricate understanding of this than I do. But we fall onto a formation line where we're essentially going to gun out the people that are on the other side. And we pretty much do that for probably 250 years, right? And it's a gradual development of what we understand about firearms. Nukes, in their infancy, come from our understanding and development of what we know about iridium from probably the late 19th century, early 20th century. I would probably put that somewhere around 1903. Germany's probably got credit for the earliest understanding of the technology that would drive it, but to be fair, they didn't know how to adapt that, right? And then, as I talked about in the first Lightning series, we really drilled down into that as early as 1941, probably 42, as to what can we do with this technology, right? What can we do with, the real science behind protons and nucleons? And
okay.
It kind of came to a point that we didn't know what we were doing until the reality of early 1944, when Germany deployed the cruise missiles, the V1, the V2, and it kind of drove the scientists into high gear. It really kicked off the entire program, and that pretty much set the stage for where we are as far as nuclear technology today.
That's fucking interesting, man. I've heard things like, so I've talked to a couple guys that are researchers, and basically what they talk about, like, we didn't even really drop fucking nukes on Japan, according to them. That, like, the real damage, like, if we did, maybe we did, the real damage was all the fucking napalm that we were dropping. And I guess it's windy as fuck over there. And so, like, and they all had, like, wooden houses. And so, like, that's what was really fucking devastating the shit out of fucking Japan, and just burning women and children alive. And that the whole nuclear thing was, like, kind of like, I don't know, right? But, like, they would say that, like, the nuclear thing was this thing that was scary enough where we could say, like, I could nuke you, you could nuke me, we could have this, like, Mexican standoff, and that was a way that we would, like, promote, like, kind of have some sort of peace. But there has to be maybe something to the nuclear thing, because, right, I mean, there are, like, nuclear plants that are making energy. And I talked to a pretty interesting guy. I think I'm going to put out our interview next week. His name is Andreas Exertis. He was talking about how there was actually these old volcanoes that they found in the Congo that they couldn't explain exactly, like they could really explain it, because it looked like they were man-made nuclear reactors these fucking volcanoes were. And so that would actually tie back to maybe ancient technology and maybe some of the free energy if we want to like get it, like dig into Tartaria sort of thing. And that like the French government bombed the fuck out of those volcanoes because they were trying to cover that shit up. And I don't know, man. So maybe they're, you know, I'm still on the fence with the whole nuclear thing. Like, but it kind of sounds like there's definitely has to be something to it.
No, I've heard a lot of that stuff that you're talking about right there. Like I've actually heard a lot of that, like conspiracy aspect of things, and I like that because there's always I've always been into that control aspect, but I do gotta say I think there's something out there. Like I've actually talked to like people in my lifetime that were like a part of testing and stuff like that, and have side effects from some form of radiation. So they definitely blew up something. You know what I'm saying there? But what exactly I couldn't know. I do know they even have like radiation and like sound wave weapons and shit. And just imagine the damage that could do to your body and stuff.
So, if I may,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Nate. If you want to go ahead, I just have a thought.
Yeah.
On actually what everything you guys were just saying. If I may.
Yeah. Go for it, brother.
So my only thought to that is kind of ironic in and of itself is the reality that we've kind of been here before, right? So we've dealt with the reality of the really hardcore dealings of dirty bombs and the potential that could cause, right?
Sure.
Nuclear weapons in and of themselves could potentially not be as problematic as they may be based on the reality of if they're dealing with, let's say, somebody far and wide decides they want to go into a full artillery sort of retaliation against the U.S. And yet we deal with these sort of situations where we have to deal with sorry, yes.
So some of the things that I've definitely heard of is like that came out of the Korean War. Like I know that they have some fucking dirty bombs, and they were definitely playing with like that was their as far as I know, like really some of their first trying to use
dirty bombs
like
are pretty
bioterrorism, easy, right? They were like, I know that they were trying to like give what the fuck is that like. Oh man, some of those were shitty diseases. They were like the bubonic plague and stuff. They were trying to put it on like fucking like mice, and they were trying to fucking put it on like fleas and shit. And they were trying to do all kinds of like smallpox, and they were trying to like really fuck up Korea. And so I know that like they have no scruples as far as like really like wanting to fucking kill people and shit. Let's see here. So I know that they have no fucking problem.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, if you look at there are actual ancient like recordings of what would appear to be like the use of a nuclear type weapon thousands and thousands of years ago. They're talking about weapons that could decimate entire cities, entire armies. They have detailed recordings of people that suffered what would be considered radiation burns, radiation sickness, everything like that. The videos that you see of the nuclear tests from the 40s, 50s, 60s, to recreate that with the technology available at the time, to recreate something that wasn't there at that time, it just doesn't match up. I mean, the craters left behind from nuclear tests, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it could just be a gigantic fucking bomb. I have no idea. But
a conventional yield explosive of that magnitude, we're talking like the kilotons and megatons. That's like thousands. The kiloton is thousands of tons of TNT, and then
1,024.
That's insane.
Think about the Moab, though. Remember the thing that
that's a fuel air bomb, though. The largest
the
conventional munition. Right? That was a fuel air bomb. That was all fuel. The largest conventional munition, I think that was ever used was the Daisy Cutter in Vietnam. They had to kick it out the back of a C-130. It was just a huge palletized of C4, and they would use that to create artificial helicopter landing pads.
Oh my!
But the munitions you have now, the 2,000-pound JDAMs, the joint standoff weapons, the joint direct attack munitions, cruise missiles, conventional warheads. I mean, you can only do so much damage. I mean, you've got tactical nukes that can, be packed into a conventional delivery system and level city blocks.
So, if I may, I have no other distractions now. I'm sorry. My oven was going off. I apologize.
No worries, brother.
If I have anything to say about the delivery of nuclear weapons or any high yield weapon in general, right? I look primarily at not what we've done outside the U.S. I look at our own potential catastrophes. Jimmy and Casey both know about this as far as what I've dealt with, as far as what I have researched. Really comes down to like the potential that we could blow ourselves up, right? So looking at it in a grand scale, I've looked at the possibility that the Trinity test could have gone wrong, right? They thought that there was a potential that setting off the very first atomic bomb could ignite the Earth's atmosphere, and they did it anyway. And the reality that it did not blow up the Earth is what drove that reality forward. Because obviously, if that had happened, none of us would be alive to talk about it today, right?
That is a funny thing about history, too. Yeah, I remember reading about that they were worried about the gases that were in the atmosphere, right? And that they thought if they fucking blew this thing up and it got that high, it might, like, cause a chain reaction and fucking kill everyone on the planet.
Yep.
And there was,
igniting the atmosphere was a serious concern of both Oppenheimer and Richard Feynman. They both warned that there was a potential there that it could ignite the atmosphere. And yet we did it anyways. And it came on the heels of the...
Of course we did.
Right. It came on the heels of the fact that Japan absolutely refused to quit. And my main evidence for the existence of nuclear weapons in general comes actually not from us. It actually comes from Japan.
You know what's fascinating, man, is that I've heard this actually quite a bit from, what do you call that? Like history revisionists and things like that, that'll actually point out that like Japan was fucking, I mean, they weren't like necessarily ready to fucking quit, but they were like, they would have, they like had conditional surrender terms and stuff, and they were like ready to fucking submit. And America was just like, we don't take any conditions. We want complete unconditional surrender. Like it could have been a lot different. Like they just wanted to keep the emperor. They wanted to like do a couple of different things, and America is just kind of cunts. And we were like, fuck it. oh, where's there? Oh, this is a big city with a bunch of women and children.
Right.
Let's just drop it.
That's fair, but humor me if you
and that
will.
we let them hit us because you can find old newspaper articles where we knew they were going to hit Pearl Harbor. Like we were egging them on. We wanted that shit to happen. We wanted Japan in it because it's just fascinating, man. There's a lot to it, man.
Oh yeah, no, I mean the reality that we had to assassinate their top admiral, the one that the very man that signed off on the decision to send A6M0s at Pearl Harbor and blow it the hell up. Yeah, that's a hard decision. And I think there's some truth to the fact that, I don't think that Japan wanted to go to war with the U.S. at all. I cannot even remember his name right now. But, that same admiral, he did not want to go to war with the U.S. at all. And there's a famous quote that is misconstrued. It's actually taken out of context because I didn't read the whole quote. But he actually wanted peace with the U.S. But looking past that, if I take into consideration just the reality that Japan, in the face of what we were dealing with, did not want to surrender, and I only use this as evidence based on the fact that they had two people who refused to surrender until they got direct orders from their commander, and that came like 30 years later, ironically, like 1974, 1975, right? They did not have a disposition to want to surrender, and yet the reason I legitimize nuclear weapons in that regard is Tojo himself said that the enemy has used cruel bombs.
Yeah, for sure, man. So like I said, I'm on the fence with it. I'm not 100% saying
and no, that's fair. But that's kind of my logic there is they didn't want to quit, right?
I'm one of those nuts that I don't believe in gravity, really. You're talking to somebody that questions absolutely everything. So
right. And I'll get in on with that too because but like Nate, like I think there's a lot of aspects of it that are totally like a stage show, just because a lot of people, you're not there to witness it and stuff like that. Like I even think down to like even modern times, things are just a big stage show for us.
Yeah. What Neptune was touching on, which I thought was pretty interesting, was like he brought up what happened in 1974 and 1975 or whatever that was like, I listened. Yeah, well, it was those dudes that were like stuck on an island that like I think
they thought
one
the
of them
war
was like in the Philippines. Yeah, they thought the war was still going on. They were picking people off, and like that dude had kept his gun in like pristine condition. He was ready to go. His uniform was like tattered because it was old, but he was still sniping people out and killing them because he thought the war was still going on.
He refused to surrender unless he got a direct order from his own commander.
So they flew that guy in who had retired for years. Like I think he was like a fucking guy that ran a grocery store at this point, and they had to get his commanding officer. They had to fly him there to decommission him and be like, no, for real. Because he didn't believe him. He's like, fuck you, the war's still going. I'll kill you too. Like
and then that shows you a lot about perception, really, I think, because you depending on where you are, like you may not know about things. There's whole societies of people that are still cut off from like the outside world. Like this is a real thing.
Let's talk about North Sentinel Island then.
They don't have a clue, you know what I'm saying, of what's going on in
what's going on in North Sentinel Island.
Wait a minute, you don't know what North Sentinel Island is?
No, tell me about it.
It's an island off the coast of India. It's off of India in the Indian Ocean.
They're the guys
They are the most isolated group of people on the face of this earth. You cannot go to their island. And they've had helicopters fly over that have been bombarded with arrows. people have visited the island and been killed and eaten.
So I think this happened fairly recently, right? Wasn't there a dude that was like, he was like, I'm a Christian missionary, and Jesus told me to go there and tell him all about it.
2013.
That was the Korean Baptist fellow. Yeah,
dude, he
wasn't Korean. He was an American.
Was he American?
Yeah, they killed him and ate him. They never saw him again. Like, if you land on, there will be no help coming for you if you land.
That happened.
Their beach.
That happened earlier, like 74, 72, or something.
Numerous times.
Yeah, but this just happened recently. Yeah, this was in the news. I mean, I think this was in the last 4 years.
I remember that.
Yeah. That's super fascinating, man. How the fuck did they get so lucky? Why? How did they get? How are they not touched and fucked?
I think they're hiding something there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, man. Yeah, exactly.
I think something is when you have a place that is that isolated from everything, you can't. I mean, pass over it with Google Earth,
and
you won't be able to zoom in and see anything. There's nothing there. I think something is hiding there.
Right. To Bandit's point, too. Ironically enough, they, according to Google, they are the last people that have not officially been contacted by the rest of the world.
Yep.
Interesting. What do you think's there? Is there like an alien hub, dude?
Who knows? I'm just saying, anything that isolated. The same goes for Antarctica. The same goes for Antarctica. Any place in this modern world.
Right.
With everything that is going on right now, something is hiding there, or people are hiding something there.
I mean, I'm not trying to infer that something's going on there, but
I definitely am trying to infer something is going on there. I ain't lying, man.
I mean,
did Epstein's jet drop there sometimes? Like, and they thought he was a god, and they let him go, and maybe those little indigenous kids are delicious.
Now territory. I
they have the purest adrenochrome.
I can see Bandit's point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what's happening in the Amazon right now. Like, due to deforestation, all of the ancient civilizations that are coming to view right now, we're talking civilizations that they estimate had a population anywhere from 40,000 to 50,000 people. In the middle of the Amazon.
Contacted people's there as well.
Did the Aztec though? Didn't they say there was like a population of 2 million people?
Yeah, more than that. They were almost wiped out overnight. Wiped out overnight.
But the Aztecs in their main city, like the way it was described by the conquistadors, they were like, "This is as big and as awesome and like crazy a modern city as like Paris." They were like, "Holy fucking shit!"
And if you look back at to what wiped them out overnight, like the disease, it's horrifying. Like if you look up the disease and it wiped out millions just in the blink of an eye. And if you look up like the what the disease did to a person,
it's monkeypox, right?
Actually, I think it was COVID. It was COVID.
What I understand,
because they weren't vaccinated.
I have to say something here only because, according to my own genealogy, apparently I have roots there because my biological father is
Same Cuban. Here, buddy. La raza.
Yeah. So, from what I gather, is that whatever disease killed the people in Europe, the Black Plague, was the same disease that actually killed people in Central and South America.
Interesting.
Around the same time.
No.
Well, they claim
what they described killed the Aztecs.
Killed everybody, right?
No, what they described, I don't know what the actual like final thing was, but what was described that killed the Aztecs was worse than the bubonic plague.
No shit. The bubonic plague sounds pretty fucking terrible, dude.
Yeah. There is even they recorded something to the fact of it was they were puking up black liquid and stuff like that.
So what did the Spanish bring to this advanced civilization that wiped them
That
out?
killed them.
That's what I would like to know.
Did the
Bad
Spanish even
tacos,
bring
man.
it? Did the Spanish even bring it?
Spanish even bring it, or did they get blamed for it?
Indirectly.
Did it come
Right.
from that in a Wuhan lab from ancient China?
I'd be curious to know, though. If it was not the Black Plague, if it was not, like
COVID.
Spanish flu.
That's
right?
what I just said. COVID, man.
one.
And they died because they didn't get vaxxed. Oh boy, we can do this all night.
That history repeats itself, which is funny though. It ties into like the world as a stage. It's like somebody already wrote it out, and you got somebody up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's getting boring, man. They're just reusing old scripts, man. They failed to write anything
It's like
new.
they've done this before, and it's like, hey, we'll try it again.
It's like this
Right.
trend of remaking '80s movies. Like, just stop. Just stop. You're not.
Hey,
When are they going to bust out a
Let's
real
just put on a
pandemic?
rerun. Just put on a rerun. I'm tired
Yeah.
right now, man. Put on a rerun.
I'm waiting for a real pandemic. When are they really going to try to kill us?
Please don't even give me hope. All right, don't give me hope. Did you see the news about what could possibly have caused those thousands of head of cattle to die in Kansas? Did you hear that?
No, I haven't
what
heard.
supposedly
They
killed
just say
them.
heat killed them. Yeah, but
No.
Yeah, that's
An
what the news said.
electromagnetic
One of those sound wave things.
rip in the atmosphere that
Electromagnetic.
allowed more from the sun to get through than normal. Do any of you remember the movie The Core?
Yes.
Yep.
I haven't
That's
seen
what they're saying, a rift or a tear in the atmosphere that allowed more of they called it something like an
Somebody killed those cows, bro.
Just a second. I've got it, the actual article, and it's leading up to this is what has the real potential to cause an extinction level event. Yeah.
Are they
Yeah.
gonna
And
disappear in the
yeah,
sky?
come on, man.
No,
I got the actual article here that
I don't know if Bandit or fucking Bill Gates wants more people. to die.
NASA warns of a deadly magnetosphere rift that could cause a mass extinction. The mysterious cattle deaths that took place over the weekend in Kansas, now rumored to exceed 10,000 head of cattle, have defied traditional explanations. As the magnetosphere weakens, combined with ozone layer depletion, natural force can cause rifts or gaping holes in the shielding that normally protects Earth from UVB rays emanating from the sun. The flipping of magnetic north and south poles results in this weakening of magnetosphere, and this process is already underway on a planetary scale right now. Please,
Dude,
slow
I was
drip
just
shit
talking
is
to
killing me, man.
Well,
I'm
you guys
hoping
just
for
talked to him
day
too.
after tomorrow. I'm hoping for day after tomorrow, man. I really am hoping for day after tomorrow.
I was just talking to Chris Matthew about that. You guys just talked to him not that long ago.
He's cool.
But he was telling me about, and that seems like the most likely scenario because, some people are saying we're going for global warming. Some people say we're going for a new fucking ice age. And that's kind of
the temperature
way
already
I go,
spikes. Usually spikes before an ice age.
But yeah, totally, brother. I honestly, that's where I kind of land. But he's also explaining to me about he also explained to me about that fucking how the North Pole is quickly fucking moving towards Siberia, and that at some point it's going to hit a certain whatever, and it's going to fucking flip
violently flip.
They're talked about in that Adam and Eve story. It's that CIA book that's undocumented. You can totally actually find it. I have it linked, a PDF file of it for people. I put it on an open PDF file. It's it's the story, and it actually talks about that, like pole shifts and stuff like that. And like that's something that I take kind of some interest in because like It'd be really interesting to see what would happen. I think it would be like the day after tomorrow stuff, like bandits up there hoping for. But
Bandit, seriously, what are you doing, man? You gotta go join in with the dark side. You're sitting there jerking off, wanting people to die. I'm like, you sound like Bill Gates. Why aren't you going to work for him?
It's my whole thing right now is planet Earth. We as a human species right now, the majority of us are inherently good. Okay, inherently, the majority. But those have, I mean, that majority of people have been infiltrated and ruled by some of the nastiest people, right? And there's nothing we can do. I mean, to be honest, I mean, there's nothing we can do to take them out of power, really, unless it goes towards like violence. Or in this case, like a world-ending natural disaster. We don't deserve this planet, man. We don't right now.
I don't know, man. The way that I see it, I don't even know what it means to be like a humanist or something, but I put us on a fucking pedestal above everything else. Like literally, if we were the last species alive, all right, as long as we're alive, like I don't care what the fuck I don't care how beautiful this planet is. If we're not around to enjoy it or appreciate it, I don't think it fucking matters. Like,
but we can't
life will start again. Life will start again.
I don't think we can save everyone, and we
can't. But okay, so let's say that a huge shift comes and kills a whole fuck ton of people. I don't think it's going to kill the people you want dead. It's only going to kill us fucking normies. Yeah. Like all of those sick fucks, they have bunkers, dude. They're ready to fucking ride this shit out. And when they come back out, then they're going to come and be cunts again. And there's only going to be a few of us this time. We're not going to outnumber them 10,000 to 1. And so they're going to really stick their dick in our ass.
And we know where their caves are. We need to be waiting at the entrances.
We need to be waiting in New Zealand. That's where the bunkers are.
There's bunkers.
Dude, they're in Colorado. There's a fuck ton of bunkers in Colorado.
They're all over.
I'm gonna go camp at one of the entrances.
Yeah,
you're gonna get shot after you get gang raped by their security guards.
Well, I guess we die in the street like dogs. I guess that's the plan for the
I'm okay. Maybe it's better than the atmosphere terror. I don't know. At least you'll get some sex before you go, I guess.
Bunker's got an entrance, man. Bunker's got an entrance and an exit.
It's in your pants.
They got ventilation.
Yeah, buddy. No, I like it.
The beautiful thing about bunkers is no matter how you spin it, they only got one way out. Even if they have more than one way out.
Yep, they got to come up eventually. Somebody's gonna be waiting.
Yes,
hopefully that would be a good.
Okay,
best thing.
let's talk about Donald Trump dying in the 1980s. How does this work, Jim Bob?
Apparently he was in a helicopter crash. Like there was totally a news article about it that I wish I had to pull up, but there's a good there is a news article out there about it. They try to debunk it and stuff like that, but it seems like him in the helicopter, and there was somebody else in there as well that went down. And like I think this kind of stuff happens all the time, where they kill and replace people with either clones or robots or shapeshifters or just fake altogether. Like they kill a body double, you know what I'm saying? And like to keep a story going, because like I don't think he's the only one. Like when you talk about the Trump one, and I think that one's a good one on the radar, because I don't think the Trump from the 90s when he was like in Home Alone and stuff like that is the same Trump like that was around in like the 80s and stuff like that. Like the one that started getting more popularized and in television isn't really the same one that was around when he was kind of laying low and making his money and going bankrupt and back and forth and shit like that. Like,
well, we know that Joe Biden that like was like hanging out with like the Grand Wizard and like was like a racist son of a bitch and was like, I don't want a racial jungle for my kids in school, and like let's fucking all that kind of crazy shit. Isn't the same like I love gay people, old senile kid sniffer now. Like, so we know that that's a different son of a bitch.
Oh, dude, that's clearly like there's. I've seen all the schematics and stuff up there. Like the guy that's on stage and it's literally a stage wherever it is totally the guy that's like Joe Biden, or was Joe Biden back when he was, vice president, for sure. Like those are two different people.
Look at the ears. It's definitely not him.
Yeah.
Look at the ears. The ears are fucking like, God.
And have you seen where like his skin looks different, like almost like he's wearing a mask, maybe, or makeup even?
Yeah, it almost creeps me out as much as Dick Cheney. And Dick Cheney's in a league of his own. I mean,
when is that old piece of shit gonna die? I want to start making some memes now. Let's get on this, Jim Bob. Let's make some memes about. We'll manifest this by just like having positivity. Dick Cheney is gonna die in Minecraft. Wink, 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 wink. I'm just saying of natural causes. I'm not saying it. Natural causes. Satan's gonna come and get him because he's a bastard.
He's a great meme subject that I think I have failed to cover, and I have to make sure that we cover that now because.
Hey, Jimmy, don't worry, I got you covered, brother.
In the ghoul pool, Dick Cheney's he's got to be. His numbers are up.
Well, I mean,
he's been alive too long. How long's that baboon heart gonna last?
And like Soros, how many heart transplants is he on now? Like. He just keeps living. That's why they cloned him and made him Zelensky this time. Like that.
Well, that's why they want to keep fucking abortion so that they can take fetuses and suck them like go-gurts and just keep those old fucks alive.
They're doing something with all that shit for real. Like,
I mean, well, you saw South Park, right? With that whole fucking joke where they were like, crippled Superman started sucking down fucking fetuses and then he could walk again. Like, there's something to that shit, man. Sure. I mean, sincerely, there is. I mean, they're like even like soft peddling it now towards us. They're like,
programming.
Look at this. Yeah, it is, man. Because they're like, look at this old mouse and he's dying. Well, if we inject him with young mouse blood, he lives longer and he starts like. Anyways, he's like, we're reversing the aging process by pumping him full of young mouse blood. And I'm like,
vampire facials and all the stuff that celebrities talk about, like creams made out of foreskin and shit like that. I'm just like, wait a minute, you guys are using what now? Like, you're doing what with human?
See, I don't even think that they drink adrenochrome anymore. I mean, I think that's like old school shit. I think they just have like cocktails now of like squish them up. They throw them in like the Vitamix and a bunch of babies, and they can just like inject it into them. Like I think when like for their ritual purposes, it's like it's old school, and they still get down with it every once in a while. Like they'll take a baby and they'll slice it up and then they'll suck it, and drink its blood and things.
Almost,
but. Yeah, but like they don't even have to do that anymore. That's just kind of for fun. That's like
sport.
Yeah, that's for sport.
Keep them occupied. Well, me and Bandit talk about this a lot as far as like at the end of the day, there's got to be like one person in charge when you follow the line back all the way. So like this is something he's doing to let his puppets have for fun or whatever, that they makes them think that they're important and or blackmail them. Like this could be the kind of stuff going on down on Epstein's island. They got caught, and the probably other dozens of islands that exist, because like there's
it's nothing you've never seen this. You've never seen the places that the real shit goes on.
Yeah.
Bohemian Grove is in the news. It's a big a big front. It's in the news. Epstein Island is in the news. The real places that this dark shit goes on, you will never ever see the real people in charge. You will.
It's in Tom Cruise's backyard. And they're not going to let us know.
Or if you have seen them, you wouldn't know it was anybody special.
Like
these people that people that are really in charge, their puppets are George Soros. They are old Schwab of the WEF. Those are puppets, man. Those guys aren't even the people above old Schwab. Those guys are puppets. So if you go high enough and take it as a corporation, you go high enough, you're always going to run into one guy. Always. And that guy and his real lieutenants, you have never seen these people. History doesn't know about them. Nobody knows their names. That's the real scary shit. Bohemian Grove doesn't scare me. What they do at Epstein Island doesn't scare me. What Schwab does with the WEF doesn't scare me. George Soros doesn't scare me. These guys that the news has plastered all over the front page doesn't scare me. What scares me, though, is the people that are really in charge that we've never seen or heard from. That's what really scares me. Let that imagination run wild with that.
Back to like old Canaan, like bloodlines, and I think it does go back to like some weird like Babylonian cults and shit like that.
You're
for
right.
sure. And
because
so I think
the 23andMe, there's a big push for 23andMe and Ancestry.com. The whole send in your blood for DNA work and stuff and find out where your real history is. BlackRock and Vanguard own a large portion of both of them. Okay. They are searching for someone or something with that blood work. When you send in your blood to get DNA work done to find out your real ancestry, they're searching for somebody or something in the bloodline of people in the world.
I think it's also occulted too, because I think like they're gonna try to make Ashkenazis look like they actually came from Palestine.
Well, like
fake Jews.
I like where Bandit goes with that, because like I do think that they're searching for someone. It's one of those things I refuse to do. So if it's me they're looking for, like, good luck. Like I don't want to take a part in that thing. Plus, because I've seen some good debunking on the way that they do that. They only tend to go up like one, maybe two bloodlines, and they don't take into effect that you have like, you have 4 sets of grandparents, and then it goes back even more and more. And when you get so far back, you'll have, like a couple hundred great something grandparents, because of the way it keeps splitting around and stuff. And it only goes down like 1 or 2 bloodlines. And that's what draws me to I think they're looking for someone or something in specific, because there is, like we talked last time we were on here, something out there definitely about like the 13 bloodlines of those, like what you're talking about, going back in history, because even the CIA has documents on it and stuff like that. So like why take the time to make some documents and even edit some stuff out of it? Then
I've met a couple of people now that are like, I can't remember what it is. It's like RA negative plus something or other. You know what I mean? Those folks that have the rarest blood type. Mm-hmm. Do you know who I'm talking about? And they literally can give blood to anyone. And then they also have like, I mean, according to him, they have like some sort of fucking powers and shit. I have no idea. Like, I don't, if they're trying to hunt those people down, it's like 1 in like fucking 3 million people or something like that have that, or even less.
And you want to know something that's super weird? I keep finding them. Like I know personally a lot of people that have that trait, and I think it's interesting that it is such a rare thing worldwide, but yet I keep running into it, and I'm wondering if it has something to do with like real people genes or something, because maybe they haven't, maybe this isn't the first time they've injected people with stuff, like there's been all these mass genocides and mass world wipings and stuff like that, and resets of history and hidden history that we don't actually know about, and what if it's all played out like this once before, and it's kind of playing out like that again, and maybe we can stop it from doing it a 3rd time or 4th time or 10 million times.
Yeah, maybe they're the original, or also maybe they're the fountain of youth.
Maybe. Ooh.
And maybe that's why they're fucking hunting them down. There's like some extra longevity or something special about that bloodline. I don't know.
That's an interesting thought. Or there's got to be something special though to that to that bloodline that they're looking for, or to whatever they're looking for. Like they're definitely looking for something. They wouldn't just give everybody this ability to do something without looking for something in return. Like that's not how they work. Like
and I also, dude, I really think that 23andMe, like you're saying, how they're like telling you your history. To me, that goes back to like the world fairs in like the early 1900s, where they would get all these human zoos and they'd be like this is an Ottoman, this is a fucking an Aborigine, this is what an Indian looks like, and it's all about like telling you your history instead of, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of rewriting it as well. They're like, oh, you're from here, and like occulting like your actual history. Because so many people can't tie so many people don't know where the fuck their family came from pre-1850. It's really fucking hard for most people to find anything before then. And it's not because there wasn't records, it's because there was a fucking huge reset.
Well, Yep. That's weird that you mentioned that because my mother had a genealogy done to all the way back to 1720, I think, and it goes to Ireland, but it just stopped. There's nothing. There's
Nothing.
absolutely nothing before the 1700s. Nothing.
Yeah, no, you're going to find that a lot. Most people cannot tie anything back further than that. And it's because, I really think this was a huge occulting, and I don't know exactly what they're hiding. That goes back to like the whole Tartaria and that maybe that whole fall, and then these sick fucks kind of consolidating power. And then, like, if you own history, you own the present and you own the future.
Yeah. You can tell people whatever you want. If you were the ones writing history, you can tell people whatever you want. They could put whatever they wanted on paper. If they were the ones responsible for the reset, fuck it. The real reason the Civil War was fought was because of slavery. Let's write that down. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's all about that shit.
Come on. It's the truth, though, man. They can write whatever they want.
There's so much of that, too, though. It's like how many people were just dying, right? So they could call it the Spanish flu. That killed a fuck ton of people. But, and there was wars and there was all kinds of shit that happened. But, how many people, dude, I know you guys have heard about all those fucking orphan trains, right? That were just these trains full of fucking kids. All from Europe and all from the East Coast and all from America. There was all these kids and you could just buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Literally at the World Fair, they had babies for sale and shit. And they had infantoriums. They had all these fucking little infants. They're like, look, we can keep these babies alive in this infantorium. And everyone's like,
parents,
where's the mom at?
During the Great Depression.
We don't need moms anymore. That's so fucking passe. Look at this machine we have. We don't need fucking parents. You know what I mean? And any of those fucking parents, how many of those people were just thrown in asylums back then? Asylums were crazy, dude. If you and I, back in the day, if that was the FEMA camp of back, of back in the day, it's if we wouldn't sign on, we wouldn't get our jab, we wouldn't fucking say Black Lives Matter, and we wouldn't do all this kind of shit. They would throw your ass in an asylum, and then they had all these groups of crazy people they could experiment on, fuck around with, do whatever they wanted. It was wild.
No, and I don't think it's the first time that they've done it. And it was, it was simpler when they did it the first time, I guess, maybe for some people, or that's why they had all the wars. Me and Bennett talk about this. We've had some guys on here to talk about Tartaria and stuff like that. That's why they had the Civil War and then the World Wars and stuff like that to wipe this history clean all over the place and kind of make up their own. And I've actually seen it as a growing trend. And there was even this thing recently about Putin unlocking some historical
Tartarian evidence
about Tartaria and releasing it to the public and shit because it's been something that's not supposed to be out there. But I've seen bits and pieces. I haven't been able to find too much. I'm not much more than I've already kind of known, I guess. I've talked to people that claim Tartaria stuff all the time, so I definitely believe it because there's even written documentation. And the one thing you always get is, well, that was just a blanket name, and I'm just you literally don't want to read anything. You just want to go with what you heard. Give it a chance because it's got some really good stuff in Tartaria. There's even been some scientific proofs with how to do a mud flood with sound waves, and that technology exists. That's real stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's super fascinating. And I honestly think when people talk about Tartaria, they're talking about two different things too. Because clearly there was an empire called Tartaria, right? And that was in the steppe region, that was Russia, that was into Mongolia, that was into China, that was into eastern parts of Europe to the Ukraine, Turkmenistan, all of that kind of shit. All of that was greater Tartaria. But then also people want to start talking about this empire because they'll talk about buildings that were built here in the United States, that maybe were pre-European or whatever. I don't know, pre 1492 that are Tartarian like architecture, and all over Western Europe there's this crazy architecture. And so I wonder sometimes if they were, like there was something different, like and I don't know, maybe it was all connected, like, and like it's all kind of gets thrown under this umbrella, we just call it Tartaria.
Sure.
And I don't know, man. It's fascinating, and I have been starting to question a lot of like some of the utopian claims about Tartaria, because some of them are just so outlandish, dude. But they're fun. Like I want it to be real, but
yeah. No, I mean, there's all kinds of things out there that I read and dive into that I want to be real, but then there's some things that are entirely crazy that I kind of believe are real. I think it's a lot about perception. I don't like to doubt anything that anybody else has seen. I mean, sure, you should take it with a grain of salt, but if that's something you perceived and you actually believe it, why what do you really have to lose? I mean, what are you really after to lie to me if you just met me and stuff like that? Like, I mean, I've heard some good wild stuff, and I've even had some experiences myself that are unexplainable. Shoot, we had some like medium ladies on. Me and Bandit did not too long ago, some like spiritual healer medium ladies, and they like hit Bandit on the nose with some random stuff that they kind of didn't divulge into, but you could like see it in his face. He was just like, "Whoa, how did these ladies?"
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, like
no, we'll leave it at that.
The reason why Bandit's dick doesn't work is because he's like, God damn it.
Oh shit! Like it's fun. It's wild. Like, I mean, I get to talking a lot to people, and you've even made mention of it before because you like it, about that like that actor-based reality, and I think that talks back into like like Joe Biden being fake, and like even Trump dying before and coming back, and like many other stars. I like to reference this guy on YouTube when I talk about it. His name's Conscious X. He's this young black guy, and he's been diving into it for years. And like some of his get a little far fetched, but some of his are like legit. Like he even had like interactions with stuff that led to when what was that one guy that ended up saying that he played Gucci Man before or whatever? Like he's got a video on there, dude, admitting that Hobson that he played Gucci Man, and like there's stuff where like JFK and
Jimmy Carter
are the same person. When you start looking at like the biometrics, like Neptune mentioned earlier about the ears, they have the same ears, they have the same jawline, they have the same teeth, and when you start looking at stuff like that, you're like, well, wait just a minute. Those are like fingerprints. Those are things that are kind of unique to each individual. And, to run across the same set of, biometrics and stuff is weird. It gets into a lot of crazy stuff too. People, this is a controversial subject because people will be like, well, there's no way I would believe that Jimi Hendrix and Morgan Freeman are the same person. I'm like, well, why not? Because the information that you're
Bob Marley
being fed, even Bob Marley, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
But there's like they've had multiple roles. Like a lot of these people play 2, 3, 4, even other sexes and stuff, like just on a regular basis. And it's supposed to be the base of the conspiracy is that this group of royals or lizard people or shapeshifters or Lord knows what for thousands of years have been in charge and just continue to play the same person, or well, not the same person, but continue to play different roles throughout history. I did a Makes You Think last week about one guy who claims to be immortal.
My buddy Ronnie wants you on his show. I'll hook you guys up after this. Ronnie's the man.
Absolutely.
What up, Ronnie?
Yeah, for sure, bud. We'll definitely talk. Thanks for it. But we we were diving into the these guys that claim they're immortal, and when you start looking at pictures of these people that look similar to people that were black and white photos from 1,000 years ago now, and you're just like, that looks like the same person, and they're like, oh, it's just genetics, and I'm just like, is it? Or is it just like, are they shapeshifting? Are they continuing to live? Did they find the fountain of youth that we're talking about, or something?
Dude, I'm talking to a lady, I think in a couple days. She's really big on the shapeshifting, and she like she can sense them, and she like catches them on video and catches them on camera, and like she does it herself, and she's finding all these shapeshifters. It's wild as fuck. I was talking to a guy last night. A shout out to my buddy Davey Wavy from the Red Pill Cartel. he did a live video and invited me on. So we were talking to a gentleman yesterday, and I can't remember what he was talking about, but he was talking about when he was like a teenager, he was having like shower sex with this girl, and she turned into a reptile while he was having sex with her, and was telling us this fucking story, man. And of course, my first question was, did her pussy change? Because I mean, I want to know. Like, apparently not. I guess reptile pussies and human pussies are very the same. But I was like,
oh my god. But also, like, I mean, these are like the good kind of like weird stories that I like.
That sounds like
but he's hooking me up. That sounds
like
lady.
Some stuff straight out of the Species movie.
Yeah, straight up, dog. No, but he's hooking me up with the lady because I guess she lives out here in the Portland area. So yeah, I definitely want to get her on my show and talk about this shit because like that shit is fascinating as hell. I want to know more about the shape-shifting stuff because I don't think that I'm too familiar with it. I mean, as far as I haven't experienced it, I don't think I've seen anybody shift in front of me, but it's wild, man. Like, and it could be in our DNA, dude. We don't maybe. We're all fucking shapeshifters too, dude, and we don't even fucking know. Like, it could be in our DNA, and we don't know how to touch into it or tap into it. Like, it's fucking weird.
Facts. Like, it's just, there's no telling what we got going on, or if it is just like some kind of, benevolent race that is been here hiding and shit like that underground. Like, there's always been all kinds of things throughout history, and not just like conspiracy stuff of like people finding lizard people in like the desert and in caves and shit like that. Like David Icke gets into that big time, and like people. Dude,
I'm talking to him at the end of the month. I'm so fucking pumped.
Yeah,
I got some questions. I'm writing them down now.
that's fantastic. But I mean, yeah, he dives into that stuff, and I've always loved that stuff because there's definitely some reality to something else being here. Me and Bandit had these guys on the other night. We were talking about just different alien races actually living, here on Earth already, and just kind of like living underground or living hidden and stuff. Because who knows what's really divulged to us? Like Google Maps could be complete bullshit and something that's computer generated, like on an AI or something. We don't know it's actually real or not.
Well, if you go back to who are those fucking aliens that supposedly that changed our DNA? What were they called again? The Anunnakis, right? Yeah. So like if you go back to the Anunnaki story and you start talking about how like they like enslaved the human race, right? And that they came down here, they changed our DNA, and they turned us into something a little bit smarter so that they could like fucking, I guess, give us orders and put us to work and shit, right? Like theoretically. And then I was sitting there having this conversation. I think maybe this was back with Chris Matthew. We were talking about like Bigfoot and shit, and I was like, and we were discussing extraterrestrials. We were talking about like, and maybe like these extraterrestrials, these like whatever the fuck they are, or they're not ultra terrestrials, maybe, right? Like maybe those were the original humans and things like that. And I was thinking Bigfoot could have very well been the original hominids that were out here, man. Like, how fucking interesting would that be if like that was original man before they got fucked with by the Anunnaki? I don't know, and they're hiding and shit. I don't know. That's fucking
think about. Because you do see
they're fairly humanoid. What's that?
You do come across Bigfoots all over the world in different forms.
But dude, a homie of mine, we're gonna fucking do a Bigfoot documentary. We're fucking stoked. We're out here in the Pacific Northwest. Like my buddy, he's a cryptozoologist. He actually lives not too far away from me, and he's getting intel from folks of people seeing like local sightings recently and shit. And so we're gonna go check those areas out, and we're gonna bring some cameras with us. And
we have a Georgia Bigfoot.
Yeah, dude, I bet.
Mountains, like it's supposed to be a thing that's out there running around.
We're just finding our uncles, man. Just the guys that got away from the Anunnaki.
Why not? I mean, there might be some truth to that. Like there's, there had to be some kind of like weird play into humanity to begin with, I think, to bring us to the point that we are today, since we are so destructive and unnatural, I guess, in a sense. Like look at like we just shot an episode about like microplastics and stuff, and how it's just, at this point there's no like getting rid of it, but we've got to like stop creating more of it and look for other answers. And it's just we're Bandit made mention of it earlier, like we don't deserve this place. Like we humans kind of suck in a sense, and I think I hate to sound gloom
some
and doom.
Humans suck.
Some humans, you're right, and I hate to sound gloom and doom. I'm not trying to, but like if a catastrophe of like a comet hitting the earth happened, like I would hope that there are enough good-hearted and strong people out there working on doing the right thing to progress on the other side. Bandit brought to my attention today, or maybe it was Neptune. I think it was Bandit that currently more private Americans own more land than anybody else now in America, which is a good thing. That means we're kind of moving forward and winning. So
That was Bandit.
I'm sorry, it was you. I'm sorry, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be fighting that here pretty. They're trying their fucking hardest, and I think that has to do with them destroying the economy and debasing the currency. They're going to try to get a lot of people to foreclose, and so those banks can consolidate and take a lot of that property. I think that's what a lot of that shit is about. And you just see the interest rates fucking spiking, dude. They do not want people to own property.
What they're going to do with that is the fuel prices are eventually going to stop. And that really is the fuel prices is what is going to kill a lot of these, these small farms that were already failing before the fuel prices went up. These fuel prices are going to finish off some of these small farms. Sure. And then these large corporations are going to come in and they're going to buy up those foreclosed small farms, and then the fuel prices are going to drop, and these big corporations are going to come in and farm that land. They'll just keep doing this and doing this and doing this until they own or try to own everything if something doesn't stop them.
And I think
and there will be no intention at this point to do another antitrust. We're far and beyond any point where we could reliably depend upon a president to protect
bust up the trusts.
Right? Yeah, right. We're way beyond that now. We're far and beyond.
No, if Trump gets voted in 2024, he's actually going to save us, and he's going to.
I thought DeSantis was going to save us in 2024, man. I thought a Trump DeSantis team is going to save us in 2024. Check this out.
JFK Jr. and Trump, isn't that what they keep trying to convince me?
But see, the thing is,
all this is the just FBI at your doors.
It's a power shift. It's a power shift and all for play power shift in DC. Oh, the Republicans are going to come in and save us in 2024. All it is just for show. They're going to just pat themselves on the back.
You know what's so goddamn sad is I see good truthers that I've respected for fucking a decade are falling for this shit. And they're like, this year, oh my God, but this year, I think I'm going to vote. And I'm like, fuck off.
Dude, think about this, man.
Who are you going to vote for? Who's going to fix it?
If you're saying that shit, you may as well just shoot yourselves in the kneecaps.
How did Hitler come into power? With a failing economy. People were down. Money was hyperinflated. People were
Who's
down.
Our future Fuhrer? Do we know who he is yet? Or?
This man recognized that he could come to power and promise greatness.
You better not assume.
Look what's happening right now. I mean, that's all it's going to take is somebody. Elon Musk is going to come to power in the next couple of years as the emperor of the United States.
I can see that.
I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. But see, that's all the politicians are doing, man. They're gonna present somebody.
If he isn't the bad guy, someone's going to make him out to be the bad guy.
They're going to present somebody as the savior of the United States.
Yep.
It's just all this is just the lead up to a play for a power shift. For the people to rejoice at the savior that has saved the United States economy.
Who's our future
brought it back to greatness.
Is it going to be Joe Rogan?
We've seen this play out in history, haven't we? People are just too stupid to see this, man.
It's the boogeyman, good man,
People just are too stupid to see this.
They're too stupid. You're right. And here's the thing: is why whatever this pseudo fucking democratic republic is, why it's stronger than a monarchy is because when the monarchy is fucked up, you can look and point at one guy and go, that king is fucking up. Let's take his head off. Right.
And that's that's the reality of why democracy is a failed experiment, because in modern times, we look at things and in the abstract, we say, okay, this is why this is not a better system, right? And yet we come into a matter of, let's just say, Democrat versus Republican in this example. And all we can do is just wash our hands and say, oh, it's their fault.
Mm-hmm. And next time, we got to change things. We got to vote even harder. We got to get the right people in. If we vote harder, we all get together, then we're going to change something. I want to say something to this comment we just got in. This is from my buddy Ronnie from the Enlighten Me podcast. He says, the party I voted for here, he's out here in Finland. So he says, the party I voted for here he got 1.4 of the votes. Not sure what to do. I vote every time, but it's not going to change. So Ronnie, yes. Brother, I'm sorry. You can vote every time, but it's not going to change. And the right people are never going to get into office. And even if you get the right person you think is going to be the right guy to change something, he's not going to change it, because it's the system that is fucking built to control, to exploit, and it's never going to fucking change. So voting is not going to change it, my brother. Like, what we have to do is we have to do it ourselves. Yeah. That's where like agorism for me comes in, and where it's like we need to fucking grow our own food, because why? Because the farms are going to be fucking taken away. Like, we can't
use a corrupt system to beat a corrupt system.
Yeah, like we can't count on food being there in a grocery store. You know, we have to figure this shit out ourselves. We have to change our reality, our perception, our household, like one fucking day at a time. That's what you have to do. Like, voting for a politician is never going to fucking be the answer, unfortunately, because God damn it, it would be a hell of a lot easier if you could vote in the right people. If only we got in Ron Paul, then
if
everything
voting
would have
did anything, it would
Ron
be
Paul
illegal.
would have got shot in the fucking head if he would have got his brain splattered against the wall if he would have actually got voted in. And it sucks. I love Ron Paul, but he wouldn't have changed anything either.
Yep. If voting made a difference, it would be illegal.
Jimmy, we should have had Nate on our last episode.
Well, we definitely got to get Nate over on an episode of Unconstitutional Awakening, like over there on the channel for sure.
Yeah,
anytime, man, anytime.
We have a blast over there, because like
oh man, that was just
like all of this.
It's like he's just saying everything that's going through my head all the time.
No, it's great actually. You know, like I see you out there talking to other folks and other stuff you're working on, and your meme game is quite strong, sir. So you know,
thank you, sir.
Your contribution to the internet, like, you know, it's stuff like that. I think that keep it going and just keep the message going. It's that double-edged sword of the internet. We found how to use their tactics against them to, you know, spread, you know, good information in a different kind of way. And I love doing it in the sense to make you laugh. Like, I hate selling fear porn. Like, that's just, it's not my favorite thing to do. Like, it's just, sure, some things are hard to talk about, don't get me wrong, and I will talk about them, but
getting someone to laugh and you're putting in a message, you're going to get it further, because people are going to fucking laugh their ass off. And then they're going to be like, I got to share this. I got to share this with my buddy, because he's going to fucking laugh at this.
Because, you know, I know you see it, but I don't know how many of your followers see it. This is your weekly reminder that John Lennon deserved it. So anyway, we can continue on.
Oh. Wait, is he also an anti-John Lennon guy?
I hate the Beatles. I wish they had all gotten it. It's not too late. Somebody can go and take care of it. In Minecraft. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
It sounds like me and him are going to get along just fine, Jimmy.
It's so, I mean, but it's just like people, there's a good example of how, you know, like history's been twisted and stuff. So many people hear that message and they're like, what? Like he wrote great music and such. And you're just like, no, he didn't. He wrote mediocre music and and got put in the limelight and was.
And the media told you to love him. The media told you were obsessed.
But
the media
He
told you
made
that,
mediocre music, and he got told he could get what he fucking deserved.
Until
And he did.
Elvis and the CIA killed Buddy Holly in that plane crash, he was going to be the king of rock and roll.
Yep.
Well, fuck all.
I mean, I'm just saying, like.
Also, Imagine sucks. That song fucking blows. And if you like it, you're a cunt.
Oh my God, no.
God bless him, man.
That guy just was such a piece of shit. You know. Hey, what did you see about all that stuff about John Hinckley being let out?
I did, yeah. That's pretty interesting.
No, he's been out for a while. He's just been freed from court supervision now. Supposedly they're not watching over him anymore because they've deemed him not a danger to society.
He's going to be a musician. That's what he wants to do.
Well, he was already an artist.
He was. He just needed a little work on that.
That's good, man. Okay.
Like, I just found all that interesting. He put, he did totally like put his email out there for people to contact him for like.
Yeah, for shows. John Hinckley did more for gun rights than anybody else, man.
I mean,
the NRA.
Good Lord.
They almost canceled the NFA, man.
I can't believe there's people that still like God damn it, why can't I think of his name? Republican, former actor. All the Republicans like to have wet dreams about him. Reagan, yeah. Why
Reagan.
do people still fucking love Reagan?
I have no idea. Like, he was such a piece of shit.
Because they picture him as like a former actor, a Californian, a gentle, soft-spoken old man. That's what they picture him as.
Trump from the west side of the country.
Yeah.
Do you know what's so funny too? Though is that like he's still worshipped by like the xenophobic, like ultra patriotic weirdo rights, like the right wing, and like he like legalized a shit ton of Mexicans, right? And then he made machine guns illegal. I was like, what part of this guy do you like? He's like a fucking Democrat now.
He is just like Donald Trump in that respect. And honestly, I'll just go one further with that. Honestly, the primary issue I have with Reagan is that he's a drug peddler.
I don't care if he's a drug peddler. I hate that he was a drug warrior. Like, I'm fine with him selling drugs. Let's just let everybody sell drugs. Like, he was making it illegal. And like,
man.
Yeah, he was like fucking with everybody. And then he was like, wink, 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 wink. All right, let's send in pallets of cocaine. Yep. Like, he was just a giant hypocrite. And apparently his fucking wife was sucking everybody's dick and fucking a whole bunch of people. Nancy Reagan was a dirty whore.
Yes, she was, man.
Yeah, she was.
She was just a giant, like, cum dumpster. It's fucking amazing.
Just the hypocrisy that flowed through Reagan was just he made machine guns illegal, and he was the botched Iran-Contra weapons deal. And then you had what was it? Gary Webb was killed for investigating what Ronald Reagan started was the crack epidemic on the West Coast.
Yep.
Everything about this guy was like on full view. If you look at Reagan as the greatest example of the hypocrisy of politics, the left and the right. Yep. Everything that he stood for, he actually went against.
Yep.
You know,
and he was supposed to be some like Christian warrior too. Well, the same thing that Donald Trump, he's painted as a Christian warrior, which is hilarious.
He's painted as a Republican, but he was a lifetime Democrat until he started running because he's like, man, Republicans are mentally retarded. So I'm going to be a Republican and I'll get more votes.
Listen. I'm going to knock on it. The Southeast is full of Baptists, and you know how many times I heard Donald Trump was sent by Jesus, and I'm just like,
oh,
he's just like King David. Did you ever hear that? He's just like King David.
Yeah. Oh my God! Like you guys need to you guys need to stop what you're doing right now and just shut your mouth before you speak.
Politics is a disease, man. Seriously, it's a disease.
I just love that, like, Ronald Reagan was like going to the Bohemian Grove and probably like fucking some young little boy, while Nancy Reagan was supposed to be some sort of Christian, while she's like reading her horoscope and getting butt fucked by a giant black guy. Like, I just love. I mean, that was the greatest White House ever. It's just fantastic.
I think
that's what America deserves.
I think Lyndon Johnson probably was.
Lyndon Johnson?
No, he was getting butt fucked though.
Lyndon Johnson.
Lyndon Johnson was getting busy calling everyone because he needed to get his balls crashed.
Yep. Yes. Dude, he was drunk. He was drunk most of the time.
I did know he
wrote his best speeches from on the shitter.
Nixon was
flashed his dick all in public the time, constantly. Dude. He peed on his Secret Service numerous times in public. Yeah. Lyndon Johnson did. Dude, bragged about the size of his dick. Bragged about the size of his dick.
I would just like.
Yeah, I probably would, man. I probably would.
I'd be
if I was president, I'd be urinating on my Secret Service in public constantly. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, man? You work for me.
Dude, what's that rapper? What's the rapper that was pissing on people? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, he was the R. Kelly of the White House. It's fucking amazing.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Let's see here.
Yeah. So
I mean, people just continue to vote for this stuff, thinking that the people in power give a shit about them. You know, that's the sad thing about it. Is like they vote for these candidates, thinking that these rich people have any idea, that are completely disconnected from reality, have any idea like of what the normal person goes through.
That ironically, now that you mention that, that's true of all politicians.
Even city councilmen have no fucking idea which the minimum wage worker down at Jimmy John's goes through.
Yep.
No.
I got to read this comment that Ronnie just put. He said, so what about the right in the USA? He says, I asked this on my last podcast. How come the right went to the forest to put it up the bum and then had a ceremony with an owl and then went the next year and no one said anything? That's true as fuck, man. I mean, that is funny as shit when we talk about like the Bohemian Grove, how it got, well, I guess infiltrated, right? Somebody,
went in and took pictures of it.
Filmed it,
and then
took
all the
pictures.
Politicians were like, we were just goofing around, man. We weren't really doing anything.
I know there's this giant owl statue, and we sat there and we mocked killing a baby in front of it and did all this fucking weird shit. We're like, but we're just kidding, though. We're just kidding.
Something like that. Moloch.
Yeah.
Moloch. Yeah.
Yeah. Morpheus tells us the story of him helping Alex Jones being the guy to get in there to get those pictures or whatever. Like
that's dope. I mean, what do you think Alex Jones was for real back then, or do you think he was? I'm still questioning Alex Jones.
I question anybody in the limelight like that.
Yeah.
I question anybody like that. He could be controlled opposition. He could be a plant. Controlled opposition. Anybody that is in the public view that much.
You should look into that.
It's not 100% for the people.
That's that actor-based reality.
Not 100% for the people.
Bill Hicks, because he's got a lot of similarities there, even biometrically. So
well, I mean, did you guys watch that one? I think I've asked you this before. Have you guys seen Black Mirror? Have you guys seen all those episodes or not?
I haven't seen all of them.
I have.
Okay. There's one episode in there where it's like all these young people, and I can't remember why they're in there, but they're like in this weird like I don't fucking know. They're like in this facility, and all these young people have to like do some shit. But anyways, they had this young man who was in there, and I'm gonna ruin this, but basically, he was like trying to fuck. I'm gonna ruin it. He's Alex Jones, dude. He was talking about like the conspiracy of them being locked up in there, and then at the end of it, he almost exposed it, and then they put him on like as like a television guy, and he was like exposing it always goes back to that. It's controlled oppositions. Alex Jones is that guy. Like Alex Jones is the acceptable, like you're allowed to ask these questions.
I thought,
and then
Jesse Ventura was that.
Yeah, man, I'm sad about Jesse Ventura.
And I used to love him because he was right on a lot of things. Like he's right on.
Ventura's a fucking bro,
but like I
I'll
think
shut up.
I think they turned him, batty and made it worse.
Sorry, Casey. I'll shut up. He's a
Oh,
brother.
all right, ma'am. He was good in Predator.
Oh, he was a good Predator. But yeah, he's a brother.
Though.
So
That's all he did. Let's see.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Jesse Ventura, man. I mean, I love that he would go on Fox News when he had that live show, and then he was talking about, what about Tower 7? What about 9? And it was like, Jesus, like, yes, do it. And then, he was doing 9/11 Truth. He was doing all that shit. And then, dude, he's just such a bitch now. He's such a bitch now. I love the mask. I wear the mask everywhere. The vaccine is, I'm like, fuck you.
The only thing I have to say
replaced.
about Jesse Ventura, myself personally, and I won't speak for anyone else, is that in my mind, regardless of whatever good he did by asking good questions, which, yes, I think he did do, he's a clout chaser.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's just my opinion. I mean, I can't speak for anybody else, but I just feel like he's just, everything he does, like it's, he's just looking for adverts. Like he's just looking for ad money. So,
I mean, that's Alex Jones too, dude. Jesus.
Yeah.
So we have a comment here from Shakira E25. She says Jenna Jameson spoke out about the elites hunting kids for sport. A television presenter in Argentina said that they did the same there and said on Twitter, "I won't kill myself." She said she won't get like Gary Webb. Okay. Oh, she got. Oh shit! Did she get Gary Webb?
She's not Gary Webb. She's still alive.
Still alive.
No, the lady from Argentina.
Oh,
that's
I don't know.
That's brutal.
Oh, Jenna Jameson straight up came out about how the royal elites, the royals, and then the elites here will hunt kids, especially the royal family.
And not just kids, though, even
dude, so many kids go missing in England. Yeah, that's wild. They don't talk about that shit. For a small island, there's so many kids that go missing in fucking Great Britain. It's nuts.
The Red Cross, what there was a story about the Queen and a Red Cross bus of kids that disappeared. A story about some Red Cross kids that disappeared in England that had to do with the Queen.
The Red Cross is a fraud.
Oh, for real though. No, but I'm serious. The kids disappeared, like a whole busload of them that were never found again, and it had to do with the Queen or something.
A good example that I like to bring up is like when they showed up to like Katrina and stuff. They were they were chasing people off that were giving people bottles of water for free and trying to charge people like $7 a bottle of water to be like, oh, you got it from the Red Cross, and they just show up till they make so much money and then they leave. Like they're just money chasers. And
dude, and then you can also look at what they did in Haiti, dude, and all those kids that disappeared. And that one lady that was working for fucking Hillary Clinton, she got caught trying to sneak kids out. She was trafficking fucking kids for who knows what.
What is she up to now? 56 friends that have accidentally killed themselves.
Dude, and there's more. There's more. Yeah, just a couple more just recently in the news. Just
the other day.
Yeah, homie that was working. I guess he was what's his name? Jeffrey Epstein's I guess he was his connect to Bill Clinton, and he was on the plane every single time, and he hooked him up and shit, and he got. That's a fascinating one, and they're trying to tell people to not talk about it, but apparently he was hung from a tree and then shot in the stomach with a shotgun.
Yeah, but he did it to himself.
Yeah.
He totally did that to himself. That's totally believable, guys. There's no reason to question that. Wow. I love
question what you're told. Eat bugs. You will own nothing and be happy.
We joke about that being the CIA's highest honor is the two to the back of the head suicide. It's just these are. Eventually, you got to question this stuff.
That's the highest award in journalism you can get.
Absolutely, and it happens more often than not.
Yeah. Yep.
Lots of people just go up come up
like
dead.
Seriously though, I mean, if they showed up and if I was responsible for exposing something like that, and they showed up to do me like Gary Webb, I'd feel honored.
I'd be like,
seriously, just be like,
when
thank God, man,
they show up.
this story got out.
Could you at least tell me which story it was? I was right on?
At least tell me which story it was.
Did they at least sit you down and then be like, can you just can it be like in the movies where the bad guy tells you his whole plan and tells you the whole thing, and then they kill you? Like, I'll let them kill me. Just
the whole thing.
Just
please
tell me what. I mean, at least let's sit down and have a cup of coffee first, man. Tell me what was it that I did that brought you here?
Yes, which part of it?
I'll go peacefully, man. I will go peacefully. Just tell me, what was it? What story was it? What did I expose that was truth? Oh, and speaking of that, revealing the truth, Julian Assange has been extradited to the United States.
Fuck.
Yeah, they've just signed the court order. He is so dead.
It's so funny to me. Like,
Julian
Assange is an insane.
And they're going to say that he killed himself.
Yeah.
No. They're going to outright kill him. There will be no suicide, because everybody knows as soon as Julian Assange commits suicide, they automatically are going to know that he was killed. They're just going to kill him because the CIA already admitted that they have an assassination plan for Julian Assange. They already outright said it to public officials. We already have plans in place to kill Julian Assange, and now
you can tell the ones that really did something. It's like the way that they're going after Julian Assange, the way that they
and look at Snowden too.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. They never gave up on Julian Assange. Edward Snowden is like, I don't know what he's doing. He's blowing half the Kremlin, eating caviar, and doing something. He's still over there in Russia, and he's just fine. He talks about walking around in he says he's kind of a celebrity. He walks around and while he's buying potatoes and vodka. I don't know what they do in Russia, but he walks around in the city and people recognize him and shit. If he was actually somebody, they would have fucking killed him. He's not. They wouldn't have allowed him to go on Joe Rogan 5 times. He's just such a fucking bitch. Fuck that guy.
If you go against the system in any way, shape, or form, they're going to kill you or throw you in jail or in a dark hole for the rest of your life. Edward Snowden, Julian Assange. Look what they did to Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah, much love to Ross, man. Fuck.
Look what they did to those guys. Fucked. Look what they did to old Teddy boy Kaczynski.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be left alone.
Well, Uncle Ted was mailing people shit. I like Uncle Teddy. His books are great. And I agree with about 85% of what he says. I agree with.
Yeah. If you go against the system in any way, shape, or form, you're done, and they will do you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gents, I think you got to get going to the next show, don't you, Jim?
I do. I'm going to be over there on the Red Pill Projects Makes You Think. I'm a co-host on that show every Saturday night at 8:30 Eastern Time. We're going to do some AI stuff this week, I guess, to kind of touch back on a series I just finished on our channel called Project Defender, where we dove deep into DARPA and AI and all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's awesome shit, man. I'm gonna have to go back and. Is that on your feed? Is that on the?
It is actually on the Odyssey.
Okay.
It's in it's in one of those sections where it's a a playlist. It's got all 4 episodes together. Just like the nuclear deep dive with First Lightning. There's all 3 episodes in a playlist, so that you can check that stuff out. And then of course our regular show, every time that I film it, gets uploaded to all the above, and you can find it at the website.
Gentlemen, this was a hell of a lot of fun. Do you want to tell people just really quickly again where they can find you? And I want to check out that DARPA series you guys did.
Yeah. Of course, you can find us over there at unconstitutionalawakening.com. It has links back to just about everything, including our social medias where we got memes and stuff. But it has all the links back to where you can watch us and where you can even listen to us, and a bunch of other stuff, merch and the ladder, and like he said. He's looking forward, you can find on Odyssey and the playlist and on the other channels if you just thumb through it. The Project Defender series and the First Lightning series. They're just continuation episodes where we kind of dove deep into some subjects that we felt are important that we need to, need to get information about out there. There was just so much to do it in one episode. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah, man. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you all. King Neptune, thank you for coming on too, man. It was nice to meet you. And
Absolutely, man.
We'll have to do it again and again and again.
People left that you haven't met from the
Absolutely,
crew.
man.
Yeah, man.
All right, gents.
We'll
Later,
do
my
this
friend.
again.
You have a great night.